So quickly, some explanation why you cannot go from Africa to Australia. Uh, this is difficult, but it's possible. But especially you cannot get to the Americas because you would enter the Pacific here and you would come out here to go to the Americas. And that is against that the distance is roughly half of the planet, 20,000 kilometers, and it's against the currents, against some of the strongest currents. And to do it through the Antarctic Circumpolar or through the South Pacific, uh, um, that is very hard because you will have to confront the roaring 40s degrees south and the raging 50s, which are bands that surround the globe in the 40 and 50 degrees latitudes that have very strong and often variable winds. Uh, you have you have these rough waves that even damage the largest container and cruise ships. So there are no commercial routes in this direction. And if you go around the equator, you will be confronted with strong currents that go from the Americas to, let's say, to Australia, to Polynesia, and to Africa. So it's much easier to go to Africa, and it's rather impossible to go to the Americans deporting from Africa. Uh, and then out of Africa, supposedly through Beringia, is, uh, in our opinion, impossible, improbable, deadly, because this is all permafrost, especially in the ice ages, of course. So, out of Africans should have, in a matter of much too few years, to confront permafrost, and they would not have anything to live from because there's no prey for them over there, and there's also no evidence of true Beringia, and genetics prove the contrary, prove the other way around. So we are in the article again. Humans forgotten return to Africa revealed in DNA. This is the extraordinary explanation of consensus. We don't agree with it. We think we derived by the Austronesian Expansion here in Ethiopia, etc. And it arrived by the South Atlantic current here and here. Okay, so the the article consensus exodus out of Africa some 65,000 years ago, the start of Homo sapiens' long march across the world. Now a study of southern African genes shows that, unexpectedly, another migration took western Eurasian DNA back to the very southern top tip of the continent 3,000 years ago. Well, 3,000 years ago is not back to the southern tip, but that's okay, that's what they say. According to conventional thinking, the Khoisan tribes of southern Africa have lived in near isolation from the rest of humanity for thousands of years. And now the study shows that their DNA matches most closely people from modern-day southern Europe, including Spain, Italy, and that includes Basques, Spain. Eh? So that's not everything. Well, we still have to explain this 3,000 years ago. This distracts, the article distracts from 3,000 years ago. and it draws attention to this one, and it draws attention to this European DNA. But the whole problem is that where do the Khoisan tribes come from? This part. Uh, in fact, the study shows that their DNA matches most closely because Eurasian people also carried traces of Neanderthal DNA. I consider this distraction as well. Um, the thing is, it's not from Africa. It's back to Africa and it's back to the south, supposedly. Yeah? I'm not even sure if this is considered back or this only this is considered back. Anyhow, they are here, and in marginal numbers, 50,000 of haplogroup A. So there's a lot of things wrong, and there's a lot of distraction. It is Khoisan haplogroup A doesn't come from Africa. It comes uh, from somewhere in Eurasia. It doesn't come from Ethiopia. Uh, Theoretically, consensus claims the South African Khoisan tribes come from Ethiopia. That's what they point here. But there's no evidence for this either. The thing is, the whole problem is, for consensus, is that Khoisan people that supposedly are the origin of all 8 billion modern humans don't come from Africa. What the article is trying to claim, but not proves at all, is that it's a bag from Africa, so that somewhere it got out. This is not proven. This is not proven. And there's a lot of genetic evidence of the country that it comes out of. Um, it comes out of the Americas, and even in both ways, through the Atlantic and through the Pacific. So they never expected uh, these DNA from Eurasia, from Italians, Spanish. They didn't expect that. So David Reich and Harvard University say, I think we were shocked. Well, of course they should be shocked, says Reich, but he says it. That's not an easy thing to say, especially for David Reich. Uh, Resembled again Southern Europeans, including Sardinians, Italians, and people from Basque. So it's not from very large regions. Basque region is in itself a very special region, and in other videos we will prove they are out of Americans. When the conquest of the Americas occurred around the year 1500, the Basques already were fishing from Spain in front of the east North American coast. So going between Europe and the Americas, it was business as usual. These guys would say, some morning they would say to their family, "Well, we're going fishing." That would take, of course, a while, but it was business as usual. It was big money or special opportunity at that time. Uh, so Basques and Italians and including Sardinians come more recently from the Americas. I say here 5,000 years, but that's for most of the Europeans come from the Americans 5,000 years ago, but certain groups like Sardinians and Italians and possibly by Basque come from earlier than this. But the dominant part of modern Europeans arrived 5,000 years ago. That is proven by the same David Reich and Harvard University and others. So there's a lot of distraction in this article. The main thing is the Khoisan, the supposed ancestor of all modern humans, do not come from Africa. And while this dot is here, it, there's no evidence it comes from here. There's no evidence even that it comes from Eurasia. The fact is, it's not from Africa, and that's why they say back to Africa. So this is for the next video, and we will make the connection between these Khoisan people and Olmec and Native Americans, and we will bring in genetic links and ancestral markers, and you will probably be quite surprised. These are Native American people, and this is Native American people, and you will see this habit of the lip plate in the Americas, in Africa, and all the way in between. This is a woman, this is a man. And I hope I can visually make clear that this is the daughter of a Native American and Amazon Amarant tribe head, and she is, how do you call it? She's a warrior amongst many other Native Americans for the Amazon forest. And this is research they do themselves, the Surui people, these native Amazon Amerindians, in the Amazon forest to try to prove certain things their way. Amongst other, the importance is also Surui. And I hope you can see that there is some African traces. This is Surui, Amazon Amarant. This is close to Amazon Amarant. It's not typical Amazon Amarant, not typical Amazon Amarant. They have African traits. They do not come from Africa. The Africans come from the Americans. We will prove that genetically. And this is Olmec. They also come from the Americas, from the Amazon forest. And this is also Surui. Surui, and you will see some, you could see, not sure, that's not the way we will prove it, but you could see some resemblance. And for instance, the Surui are more or less here, and they get out through the Amazon, follow the currents. You see the current here. They go to where the Olmecs were, and they cross, and they get over on the Austronesian Expansion, and they get into the currents. For instance, this one that I have to explain later, and they get to Africa, and they get to where the Khoisan are. But this is explained in other videos.